Hello, we are Group 8 for the class CSE535, Mobile Computing. Our team members are Garret Gutierrez, Ismael Mercado, Patron, and Zachary Wang. Our smart app is a news aggregator called What's News. The app uses a server as an application programming interface to handle the computationally intensive operations. The app allows users to register an account on their phone and then start browsing news stories from a variety of news sources using the Bing News search functionality. We will now walk through our current progress on the project. This is currently the user registration page. In order for a user to use our application, they must register on their phone as well as the API, which is done with this one simple interface. The user gets here using the user registration button here, and it'll take them to this page. They must fill in the username, email, password, and then confirm the password. In order for the email to be registered and the user to have an account, they must have all the entries entered correctly. As you can see here, an incorrect field will be flagged, and they must make the correction in order for it to be accepted. Once the correct email is implemented, it can now be entered into the system. Now here's a login system. In order for the user to access any part of the system besides the registration page, they must be logged in. As you saw, that signing was completed, which is task 8 for our project. When the user was saved, it was saved to the local SQLite database, which is task 6, but also saved to the API server, which is task 20. For the login page, we also use input sanitization, which is task 16. You must enter a correct username and password in order to be authenticated into the system. As you can see, an incorrect password will not be accepted. Once you enter the correct username and password, you'll be authenticated into the system, which is task 7.
Once the user is logged in, they are redirected to the All News page, where they can see a list of various news articles. Then from here you can click on the menu bar, which you can see different categories such as local news, science, sports, or you can do your own custom search. Here's an example of what the science looks like, and you can do a custom search. And from here you can see the latest news on US currency. From any of these menus, you can click on the article and you will be brought up, a pop-up menu will be brought up that shows view or favorite, where you can favorite an article, or you can unfavorite if the article is already favorited. Then going back to the menu bar, you can see all the articles that the user has favorited, and there's the article I just favorited with the U.S. finance chiefs. The list of favorited articles is later used by machine learning algorithms for determining recommended articles for the user in tasks 5 and 10. And these recommended articles can be accessed from the menu again, right there. All these articles are also saved to a local SQLite database as part of task 9, so that the user can view articles if the connection to the API server is lost. When a user clicks an article title, they can either read the article or mark the article as favorite offline as well, which is currently being fine-tuned.
If a user clicks view the article, the user will be redirected to the article view page. The user can read the article content from this page, and depends on the lighting level, The page will automatically adjust the background and text color to increase readability for text 11 and 13. Also, we can see the local news information. And all of the news are associated with the local plans, and this is based on the GPS location for text 15. And as you can see, all the news displayed here is locally for our state. And when the accelerometer values indicate that a user is working, as you can see, the app asks the user if they would like to activate text-to-speech and shorten the article to summary. So I can press yes.
Summary, Flagstaff, is. No FCS team has more greatly anticipated getting back a player who was injured last season than Northern Arizona, which lost starting quarterback Case Cookus after 4 games. He's been back behind center during Northern Arizona's spring practice, which concludes Saturday.
So they can focus on their work rather than reading a long article, and this is for text 12, 14, and 19.
For our server side, we basically have 2 APIs, one reading a node and the second one is on Flask. So we have the node API here and the Flask API. The node API is the API that actually interacts with the actual app, while the Flask API is a helper API dedicated for more intense tasks like machine learning, natural language processing, Also, this Flask API is only accessible by the Node API, and the Node API also connects to the database itself. So the database is not accessible directly from the server. We use Auth2 authentication mechanism on the Node API to keep track of each of the sessions for each user, and basically when the user logs in first, let me demonstrate it. When the user logs in, once the user logs in, it can start searching for news. So we basically can get all news from the database, or we can do a custom news. Let's see if we look for technology. This can take long time because it's parsing for the news. So the mechanism is the user use the app. It takes about 3 seconds, like you can see, but the user basically do a custom search from the app. It contacts the Node API. The Node API contacts the Bing from Microsoft API News, and that Bing returns a list of URLs of news related that contains that keyword or that query. Then our Node API sends the results to the Flask API, and the Flask API runs natural language processing and a parser to parse each of those URLs and grab the text. Once you grab the text, it will return the news, a summary of the news, and a list of keywords for each of the specific news. The search, so it doesn't take that long. We cap it to return only 10. Otherwise, the more we can return more, but the more due to the power that we have dedicated to our server, it takes longer on the parsing side. So these are tasks 1, 5, 10, and 2. And also we use Mongo database. So if we look for the same, if we do the same query, it could be the same person or the second person. It would take 0 time or almost 0 time, because the data all the news that get searched are saved into the database. This allows to do fastest query for consequence for other users. So if another user actually search for the same keyword or do the same query, it will detect that we already have it on the database, so it will grab those news instead. And we also have the each information user on the database, and that's a lot. And that's task 3. We also task 3 and task 4. By keeping track of which news the users do marks as favorite or read, it allows us it allows the machine learning to basically give recommendations to each of the users.